Alright, legends, welcome along to a brand new video. Now, this is one I've been looking forward to doing for the last month or so. As you know, I've been putting out a heck of a lot of stuff on the channel at the moment. It's very motivational, inspirational, all positive content. But in my experience, you can't be positive all the time. And people that are positive all the time, I find in the long run, you just can't trust them whatsoever because there is that element in all of us that is there, the dark side of our personality, and someone that's trying to cover that up all the time and never even acknowledges it is a liar. We all have it, and people, the most surrounded people that you're going to meet in life are people that have worked out how to accept that part of themselves and keep it voluntarily under control. It takes a lot of self control to do it, and it's something that I've struggled with in the past myself. Um, I can, as far as my personality goes, sense of humour wise, can go to a dark place. When I'm writing, it's a lot of the dark stuff in my mind will come out in my writing. So that's one of the tips that I have for you. But we'll cover that as far as my personality goes after I give you these 7 tips. So, yes, embracing your shadow, finding healthy ways to channel your dark side. So, tip number 1 in this for me is to acknowledge and accept your dark side. The first step in dealing with that dark side is simply to acknowledge its existence and accept it as part of who you are. Trying to suppress or ignore it can lead to more harm than good. So number 2 in this is to identify triggers. Pay attention to the situations, people or events that tend to bring out your dark side. This can help you anticipate and manage your emotions better. So number 3 in this is to find a healthy outlet. Instead of suppressing or acting out on your dark side, find a healthy outlet that allows you to express it in a safe and constructive manner. This can be anything from writing, painting, or playing music, or engaging in sports or physical activity. Step number 4 is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness techniques like meditation, deep breathing, or yoga can help you become more aware of your emotions and thoughts and help you to stay grounded when you experience intense emotions. So number 5 in this for me is to embrace the positive aspects of your dark side. While it's important to manage the negative aspects of your dark side, it's also important to recognize the positive qualities that it can bring, such as creativity, passion, and resilience. Embracing these qualities can help you channel your dark side in a constructive way. Okay, so number 6 in this is to set healthy boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries with yourself and others can help you manage your dark side. It's important to recognize what triggers your negative emotions and behaviours and set limits to protect yourself and others from those triggers. Okay, so the final piece of advice is to learn from experiences. Every time you experience your dark side, take the opportunity to reflect on what you learned from this experience. Use it as knowledge to develop new strategies to manage your emotions and behaviours in the future. Remember, growth and learning often comes from screwing up and ending up in those difficult experiences. So there we go, guys. There is 7 tips on how to control that dark side to your personality. Now, I did say briefly earlier that, my sense of humour can slip into a very dark place, and a lot of people seem to like it. So it's something that I tend to try to tone down, especially whenever I'm online. Whenever you're creating content these days, particularly on YouTube, you need to be very, very careful what comes out of your mouth. So I'm very, very mindful whenever I open my mouth what's going to come out of it. So the way I deal with a lot of the things that would trigger my dark side, my dark side isn't that strong, but um, when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was a lot different back then. Like, we would have got ourselves into situations where somebody would have annoyed you to the point where you would actually end up in a physical fight. Back in those days, you could really, if you had a disagreement with someone and it led to a physical fight, you could, you know, beat seven shades out of each other and then go for a pint after it. That's not like that these days. Um, but yes, not to say that I'm overly bad tempered, but whenever you push me to a point where I will get angry, I will, you know, uh, devastate someone in a major way. Not physically these days, but I can formulate an argument that most people will not come off the best at the end of it, and it's something that I don't like in myself. There is that piece of me that I just will keep very much under wraps, and I tend not to get into arguments just simply because of the fact that I know how good I actually am at ending an argument. So for me, any of the negative aspects to my personality, I will put them towards, or channel them into writing. I've done a few little indie film projects in the past. If you look at each of them, there is a lot of the elements in it are darker than the content I'm putting out these days. Check out Conclusions, a little short film I done there. It was on like mental health and whatnot, but the source of that story came from a dark place in my history. So I still tend to do that whenever I sit down to write something. Like, I try to write, say, if I decide I want to sit down and write a comedy, I go a certain point with it, but then it'll start to slip into a little bit of a darker subject than what I set out for it to be. So there's a subject that I'm using at the moment that is based upon more frustration in my life. It's called Masquerade. It's a 10-part drama. It's what started out like a drama, but then it sort of went supernatural, horror sort of content in it. At the moment, it's not something that you would normally see coming out of my mouth on this channel, but it's let's just say it's my frustration with organised religion in the present day. So it's just that it's entitled Masquerade just because of the majority of people that you'll see these days that profess to be very much faith driven are probably some of the darkest souls that you're going to come across these days. Like the whole, like, I grew up around the church, fell away from it in my late teens, early 20s, got re-involved in a church in my mid 30s, and didn't go well at all. So for me, a lot of the writing I've been doing, particularly on that indie project Masquerade, is simply the frustration of what modern religion has become. It's become a business these days. So for me, I've got a lot of frustrations around that, and that's my writing is going to that dark place. I've got a lot of negativity towards that aspect of modern religion, and yes, it's definitely coming out in my writing. A lot of frustration and anger, it's all going out there. So that's how I tend to deal with it. You're seeing it more and more these days. People are cracking up. They're getting into arguments and fights. You don't have to go too far in your own life to see it now. You're seeing it more and more online. Like, people's frustrations and anger are starting to come out more and more these days. Getting a healthy way to deal with that, that is the dark side to their personality, and a lot of people just these days don't have they don't seem to have the uh, control to deal with it in a healthy way. So I hope that this video was informative and maybe will help you if you are in a situation where the dark side to your personality is something that you're having a little bit of trouble controlling. But as I say now, the most rounded people you're going to meet in life are people that have worked out what that negative aspect of their personality is, or that dark side of their personality is, and have accepted it and are able to now keep it voluntarily under control, like myself. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Please feel free to share it along and let me know your thoughts on it. It's one of these ones where, like, I'm pretty sure you've seen it a few times throughout this video, where I was not just 100% confident in some of the stuff that I was talking about, particularly that religious rant that I kind of went on there. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm very much now, even a good few years down the road from everything that happened, have still got that little bit of, ooh, how am I going to speak about this? But it is what it is. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I will talk to you on the next one.